You know, I'm trying to go Nate up out of his little cage, see if he really talking about fighting. So most of these guys, they just don't want to fight. You know, how many times do I got to call for guys like Khabib, Nate Diaz, you know, all these guys, Tony, you know, they don't want to fight. So, you know, I don't know. I'm going to keep barking out some doors. I'm going to keep knocking on some doors. Somebody going to answer eventually.
Kevin, paint your perfect picture on your way to becoming UFC lightweight champion. What does that look like?
Right now, I think the best move right now is Nate Diaz in Detroit. You know, me and him headlining that card is going to be massive. Not only that, but I'm going to beat the hell out the man. And then we're going to move right into it. I don't know. It's kind of muddy right now, especially with them introducing the 165 division. I feel like that's my division. That's where I'm more suited at. Right now, I'm almost 190 pounds, and I'm training like a dog. So, you know, 165 is my move. That's where I'll be the world champion. It's whenever they implement it. But if they want me to go ahead and take that 155 strap too, I ain't got no problem with that. I think I'll take out Nate, you know, and then I've already been on Mayweather's side with this whole deal. So once McGregor gets his ass beat by Mayweather, he can come over to my world and get it.
Kevin, what do you think needs to be done? Because it seems like in a lot of divisions, especially in the lightweight division, because it is so nasty, it seems like everyone's really kind of scared to fight each other. It seems like no one wants to take the risk to fight a guy who's ranked below them, or it seems like a lot of the guys are kind of locked up into that top 6, top 5, or whatever. What can be done to get guys to actually fight each other at this point?
You know what? You got to change the mindset. Like, some of these dudes, like, they're just soft, you know? They all want to beg for money fights. They all want to beg for title shots. Like, that's going to give them something, you know? That ain't my goal. My goal ain't to get a title shot. My goal is to be a champion and be a champion for a long time. So I'm in here to make money fights. I'm not in here to ask for them. You know, I'm not asking for any of these dudes to fight me because I think it's a money fight. I'm asking for these dudes because they're tough fighters and they're going to make me better. So, you know, even if I got to beat up on Ally Kenta again in Detroit, you know, that's a big card. I think we can co-headline that card. Maybe if they put Chris Cyborg or somebody as a headliner. Because, you know, it's pay-per-view, so they're obviously going to want a title fight. But even if it's me and Al, like, I'm making a money fight. So it don't matter to me. But what matters to me is making the fight, making the people want to watch the fight, and we go out there and we're going to get it done. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a prize fighter. I go out there and I beat people up for money. So it's whoever want to sign that line and think they can get it done.
That's UFC lightweight contender Kevin Lee joining us here on the Anakin Florian podcast. You mentioned the 165-pound division. No imminent plans for the UFC, obviously, to implement it, but you have obviously gone on record prior and now today as saying that is what you feel like would be your best weight class. So if the UFC doesn't go with the 65ers, eventually, do you feel like you'd move up to welterweight, or are those guys too big?
Yeah, I might move up to welterweight too. We don't. I honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to see how this whole thing shakes out with you know, I think everybody's kind of waiting on this Mayweather-McGregor thing to get done, and then we can really get on with our lives. It's some bullshit. So, you know, I'm trying to wait for that, see how that shakes out, and then I think the rest of the division will fall in place. But either way, eventually I'm going to have to go up. You know, I started this when I was in the UFC when I was 20, 21 years old, and I'm just getting older. I'm just getting as a bigger person. You know, I'm getting better with my with my cardio and my nutrition. But at the same time, I'm just a bigger dude. I'd be much more situated. I could fight more often. You know, if they had a 165 division, I fight every goddamn month. I don't care. Like, I'm always training anyway. So what sets it apart for me is these big 25, 30-pound cuts. You know, I have to take a lot of time off between, and I'm still one of the most active guys. So, you know, I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm up at the UFCPI. I'm about to head there after this, see if I can give Jeff Novinsky a couple more donuts, see if I can sweet talk him a little bit to open up this division.
All right, we got a couple more minutes here with Kevin Lee. So, Kevin, most UFC champions...
we got all day, baby. We got all day.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you cutting out some time. So, most of the UFC champions, I would say, have that championship confidence. Some people would call it like an aura about them. They believe they're the best and have the skills to be the number one guy. You're very much of that belief. What is the key to getting better and making sure that these 21-year-old upstarts don't pass you by?
Yeah, you know, you got to keep them in their place every now and again. So, you know, I got to put it on a couple of them. But at the same time, it's staying humble. It's staying with that same mindset that I had that brought me here. You know, that hunger. When you really, like, a lot of people, and I try to explain this even to the young fighters that I see around. They think, you know, you just because you can fight really well means that you're ready for that pro level, or you're ready for that higher level. When you realize, like, you're fighting with dudes that are fighting for their lives. You know, they're fighting for their families. which is, I mean, it's such a massive difference between guys that just go out and just, compete or just do, little tournaments or even just little fights, and they don't really give a damn. When you go in there against somebody that really has that hunger, that really has that drive, and is willing to die for it, it sets the mindset apart. So a lot of what being a champion is to me is that mindset. I'm a champion regardless if they put that damn 12 pounds of gold. I really don't give too much of a damn about it. There's fans out here with 2-3 gold belts. So if I make enough money, I'll just go buy my own damn gold belt. I don't really need one. So I feel like I'm a champion, win, lose, draw, whatever. So I train that way. I go into the next day that way, and I'm going into tomorrow that way.
God, I love it. I could listen to this man talk all day. All right, so who represents the toughest fight for you then at this point of your career? Is it Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, or your boy Tony Ferguson?
A lot of people would think it's Conor. Honestly, I think Conor will probably be one of the easiest fights. People don't, I guess everybody buys into the hype, especially the casual fans. They buy into that hype so bad. When you look at a skill for skill, I think if you ask Conor like how to, break down some of these techniques, I don't think he would have a damn clue what he's talking about. Especially when you talk about on the ground, and there's no way that man will keep his hand, not let me get my hands on him. So, he actually would be one of the easiest fights, the build up and everything along with it. It will make it tough, but the actual fight itself, I think, won't be too hard. The hardest fight right now, if you're asking me, the hardest fight for me is always guys that I don't give it, that I always think suck. So, maybe it might be Nate Diaz. You never know. I think Nate Diaz is trash. Yeah. So maybe he might give me the worst fight because I'll go in there overconfident. You never know. So I try to stay true to myself. I try to stay honest with myself. And if I'm being honest, it's always the guys that I think suck the worst that always do the best against me. And that might just be somebody like Nate.
That's interesting. Well, I was glad to see you get a performance bonus for that finish of Michael Chiesa. I'm sure your mom got something. What was the nicest thing that you bought for yourself since that fight, June 25?
I actually just bought my first home. So I bought my first home in Las Vegas. I got it in the Lakes area. We closing on it right now, and I should be moved in by next week. So that's been kind of like taking up a lot of my time, a lot of my energy. But it's a damn nice house, and we came a long way from where we came from. I'm telling you that right now.
Congrats, man. That's great.
Earned it, man. At 24 years old, buying yourself a house in Vegas. Gotta love it. All right,
so a couple years ago, I got a house with my mom, and I got a house with my dad. Here in Centennial Hills. So right now, I've just been like living out of a condo. So it's about goddamn time that I'm able to shine a little bit.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this because I do see you as a future analyst someday. And you got to be real with me because I know you like Tyron Woodley and he's your boy. He defended his belt 10 days ago, but not without some criticism for the performance. So I certainly was one who defended his performance. But where do you stand in terms of a fighter's obligation, champion or not, to not just win, but to also entertain along the way?
Oh, man, that's a hard – I think the entertainment comes before the fight. The entertainment, if he did have one big criticism is that I don't think that he really played up to the fight too much. He kind of flew under the radar. It was going to happen anyway with Jones in D.C., but I felt like he could have built it up a little bit more, and then people would have gave him a little more credit, if he would have gave Damian some more credit, because as we all know as fighters how tough Damian is and how tough of a fight that is, and I don't think that Woodley did a great job of selling that to other people. So when they look at the fight, they look at Damian like, oh, Damian sucks. Like this Tyrone guy should have just took him out. But as fighters, like we all know, you can't get over reckless against Damian. One slip up and you done. So I think he should have sold that a little bit more, and then people would give him even more respect for it. Sometimes you gotta just demand the goddamn respect. You ain't just gonna, people just ain't gonna give it to you for nothing. So I think if you look at somebody like Mayweather, who I consider like one of the greatest promoters ever, he always builds up his opponent even. So when he goes out there, and even if he has a boring fight, which Mayweather's known for having a boring fight, he builds up his opponent so much that you say, okay, he shut him down. He shut down one of the best guys in the world, and that's what Tyrone did. He just isn't great at promoting himself yet. So, people give him slack for it. Even the goddamn promoter give him slack for it. So, I think he could have done it. I think the entertainment is a separate aspect than the sport. It's sportainment, but the entertainment got to come before. When you in there to get your job done, and I would have honestly done the same thing versus Damian, except I would have probably finished him on the ground a little bit.
Well, that's an insightful answer. and one that I haven't heard from a lot of fighters. So good on you for that. UFC lightweight contender Kevin Lee, man, I know I speak for Ken Flo. It's been great to watch you make your way up this division. Your next fight, hopefully Detroit. We know either way it's going to be a massive one, and we can't wait to see it. So thank you for the time today, and we'll talk soon, bro.
You got it, baby. We just getting started. Just keep